I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your cattle market summary for the week ending February the 17th, or what a difference a dollar makes. Going into this week, we've got a whole lot more drive behind the market with fats bringing $1.20 last week instead of just $1.19, and we should be going into this week with a lot of good support. You look at the board for last week, live cattle futures on the April contract Monday was down 62. Tuesday did that late drive, they're up $1.47. Wednesday was down 65. Thursday down a dime, and Friday up $1.67 following that trade that was a surprising steady. Ending the week with April at 114.92. Your February spot fats are at 117.92, so about a $2 basis there. But you look at the out fronts, August through April are all from 101 to 103. Feeder cattle on the March, Monday was down a quarter. Tuesday had that late drive also up 217. Wednesday up 27 cents. Thursday down 45, and Friday up just a quarter. To end the week at 124.07 for the March. April's at 124.20, and you look at the August is right in there about the same at 124.50. Now, a lot of people, I've been traveling up here in the northern plains, a lot of people have moved their cows in there closer to the facilities and are calving right up close to the house there. It's a pretty thing to see, driving across the back black tops of the country there and seeing guys really in the full brunt of production right there. You look at your fat cattle market for last week, like I said, it kind of drug all through the week, and your packers were bound and determined to get it lower, but I tell you what, they're showing a lot of demand. And that Fed Cattle Exchange was kind of a fail this week. Didn't sell near half of what they had offered, and didn't sell them all that great. But you look at the trade that started out on Friday, there was at $1.19 and quickly turned to $1.20, which was steady. And you look at some of your markets in the northern plains, they had a little higher market there, steady to $1 higher. Dressed in Nebraska at 120. Or live at 120. Dress stayed good and steady at 190. Colorado was steady to 50 higher from 120 to 120 and a half. And Iowa had $1 to $2 higher dress or live from 119 to 120. You look at your box beef cutout values. It kind of drug all week, but ended the week not too bad on your average weekly sale. Choice carcasses 188.93, down 46. And selects at 187.68, actually up 40 cents, continuing to narrow that spread to just $1.25. Your slaughter for last week, 572,000, not that bad considering we had the immigrant strikes there in some of the plants, but didn't really make that much difference on the weekly kill. It was just down 5,000 from the previous week and up 47,000 from the same week a year before. But we've had really nice weather and just all through the country, the mid parts of the country, spring-like weather. Guys are already getting antsy to start planting corn. These guys up here in the northern plains been working up here in South Dakota. They're able to have calves on dry ground and enjoying that. And hard to believe that we're in the middle of February and there's not any big storms, although they talking about maybe some blizzard type weather coming down the next week or two. But a lot of moisture out west, and that's a good sign. So many of those states and big grazing areas out west have not been able to support grazing for the last several years, and they're actually flooded right now. But that could bring on some drive for some stocker type cattle to turn out in some pastures that haven't had a lot of cattle turned out there in a long time. You look at the feeder market for last week. Wheat to $4 lower on both feeding type cattle and calves and stockers, getting a little bit overpriced there, and decided to back it up a little bit. A lot of them thinking because we was going to start the downhill slide on the fats, but with not, we could be coming into some strong to slightly higher markets starting out this week. And new crop calves are starting to show up, so guys are really going hard and fast after these stocker cattle, these old crop calves that aren't big enough to have to go right into the feed yard, but are pretty much foolproof and got a lot of health to them. And those are the kind of cattle that we want to really turn out and get a lot of quick gain, compensatory gain whenever the grass comes. And we've only got a month or 6 weeks before you can turn out on some of those big grazing areas, and especially in the Flint Hills, they get an early burn on those. You can turn those out, and those cattle will absolutely turn a flip. But if you're waiting too much longer, you're going to be pretty much reserved to buying new crop calves, which don't get near as much good out of that grazing as those harder old cattle do. Look at your real-time index on Cattle Market Central. 126.54 to end the week. That's down nearly $1.50 from the end of the previous week there. And you know, things did temper off a little bit. They filled some pen space, and guys weren't quite as aggressive for those cattle. But one quote I can't get out of my mind was on Wednesday in Torrington. They were buying those bigger stocker calves a lot higher. You look at Torrington quote there, 196 steer calves, 649 pounds at $1.54.5, and that's over $1,000 a head, and actually quoting more than what an 800-pound steer quotes coming off grass. Of course, those cattle are going to be bigger than an 800-pound steer. Look at Lexington on Friday at noon there. They had 126 steers, weighed 722, brought 142 and a quarter. And there's just not a lot of those cattle weighing in the 8s and 9s right now, because those have been big calves or short yearlings there for the last several weeks, and we've kind of got through a bunch of those cattle, and there's just not many of those cattle left, and not a whole lot of backgrounded yearlings to offer on the market right now either. But if you're in the cattle production business and you're looking for some breeding stock, get on DV Auction. We're in the full swing of our spring bull sales now, and a lot of good females offered on that too. If you're busy calving, you don't have to get to those sales. You can get on DV Auction there. We've got a full slate every day of the week of sales all across the country. Any breed you're looking for, any quality level. And if you're wanting to keep up with this feeder cattle market, get on Cattle Market Central. And just log on there at cattlemarketcentral.com, get your login. It'll be sent right back to you, and you got a lot of information right there at your fingertips. If you got a sale barn that's not on Cattle Market Central, you wonder why you're not on some of these reports, your Feeder Flash, your Top 25, your Hot 100. A lot of these reports that are coming out, it's all derived from Cattle Market Central. You need to get a hold of us. We can tie into your clerking system and pick that information up automatically. But working here in Aberdeen, South Dakota, and we'll talk to you on Wednesday.